you everyone for joining us at this CCH happy hour. My name is Heidi Fung. I'm one of the board members. I am not a homeopath. I am a business person, but my whole family was basically saved by homeopathy. So this is, how I serve the community of homeopaths. And what we did is we started the CCH happy hour. We're having one every quarter because we just thought, we've got to build community with CCHs. We think there's lots of topics where folks can benefit from feeling like they're in a community, learning kind of new tradecraft, which will help them in their practices and their lives. So the last one we did was on how you are able to build a practice which is for-profit and then also nonprofit with Dr. Kathleen Shively. This month, we have Miranda Castro with us, Dr. Miranda Castro with us, and she needs no introduction, but for those of you who don't know her personally, she's a British homeopath. She's been living in the US since 1994. She has, sorry. Let me just mute someone. She is a fellow of the Society of Homeopaths out of the UK. She's the president of the American Society of Homeopaths. She has been practicing classical homeopathy since 1982. She's an inspiration and mentor to so many homeopaths around the world. She is also a best-selling author. She wrote the Complete Homeopathy Handbook with over 250,000 copies sold. She wrote the very loved Homeopathy for Mother and Baby, and then Homeopathy for Pregnancy, Birth, and Your Baby's First Years, which that's what is published as in the US, and the Homeopathic Guide to Stress. She, in addition to believing that homeopathy is really a medicine for the people, and she's trying to make homeopathy more accessible for the lay person, she also fundamentally believes that homeopaths should be able to make a living. Right? Like, you at the heart are also a business person. This is supposed to be a profession where you can make a living. So that's why we brought her in today. In fact, she was so passionate about it, she actually created a software to help homeopaths do that, to help them organize their practice. And she'll give us a preview of that as well. She created it just for homeopaths and all the information they need. So anyway, I sent her a long list of questions beforehand, which she's going to talk to. Thank you everyone for coming. I encourage you to just a few things to talk about, just housekeeping. One is a reminder to get in for recertification before the end of the month, I believe. There's deadline. And then also feel free to use the chat. While we have questions from Miranda, we'll be taking it during the Q&A session. If you put it in, then we're able to, Miranda may stop and answer some that she thinks are relevant. And also I thought, if there's enough of us, we could just take a minute, and I invite you to help in a grounding exercise. If you don't want to, that's fine. You could just turn off your Zoom and take a minute. But for all of those who do, I invite you to close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. So breathe in. Hold for 5 counts, 4, 5, release, 3, 4, 5, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, release, 2, 3, 4, 5, last breath, take a deep breath in, 3, 4, 5, and breathe everything out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Go all the way to the bottom of your body and feel your feet underneath you. Is the floor cold? Are you on a rug? Wiggle your toes around. Shake out your legs. You can use your hands and touch your knees and give them a nice squeeze. Loosen the muscles. Come up further into your seat and just let the weight of your chair hold you. It's been a long day. Let the chair take all of that you're carrying and feel supported. Move up in your body and into the trunk. Wiggle your arms and hands. Kind of wiggle your fingers around. Thank them for doing all the hard work today, for writing things, for typing things, for carrying things for you. Move into your heart. Thank yourself for coming, and hopefully there's something that you'll be able to take away from this that will be helpful to you. Move up into your throat and neck. Envision all the things that were unsaid from today, just releasing out of your mouth, so it's all clear. Go up into your nose. Thank it for taking a deep breath and being part of, your breath today. Move into your upper head, the spot between your eyes, and just know that, you intuitively know what is the right thing. We are bombarded by a ton of noise in our daily lives, but you at the heart of it know what it is that you need, and just recenter there. Raise your hands up into the air and reach for the sky, and think of one thing you gave the universe today, one thing you received or hope to receive. Put your hands together at your heart center. Thank you so much for coming today and being part of this community of CCHs. You do incredible work every day, healing people and helping people be free. And this program is to be in support of you, to help you do more of that work. And with that, thank you for being here. Miranda, I'll turn it over to you.
Andy, that was lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks to Yashi and you and Cheryl and everybody, the CCHC, for everything you do to validate and ground homeopathy in this country. It's good. Okay. What are we going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? It's happy hour, and I'm a happy homeopath. I mean, the joy of working for myself, I really love it. I'm my own boss. This is a very happy place for me. I can determine how hard I work or not. Usually I work hard, and I like that. But as a homeopath, I make the world a better place, mostly. That's my goal. It's rewarding, as Heidi said, super rewarding. And I am never bored. I mean, I've been doing this nearly 40 years. I have never been bored. I think 6 months was my limit in any job I had prior to becoming a homeopath. At 6 months, I was like, let me out of here. Give me something, interesting to sink my teeth into. So I love my job. I love it as much, or nearly as much. It ebbs and flows. There are frustrating times, or like the past 2 years have been tricky. They have. But again, it's another challenge that asks of me that I adapt in order to thrive. So our practices, our gestalt, they're like a person. My practice is a reflection of who I am. It's a dynamic, I think of it as a dynamic living being that reflects my values, my existential style, my ambitions. And I have made a practice out of making a relationship with my practice and nurturing it on a regular basis. I attend to my practice with the same kind of devotion that I give to my patients. I take its case. on a regular basis. That's a wonderful thing to do. Is it a little bit ailing? Where? What needs to be healed for my practice to be healthy and to thrive and to have, you know, its full complement of vital force? And sometimes that case taking, I have to take my practice to an expert in the field, someone who understands how small businesses work, and I have to get them to take the case, figure out what's happening that needs attention, that needs fixing. And here's a fun question. You know, since our practices reflect us, I'd love you to reflect on whether your practice is a kind of animal, has got animal energy, or whether it's a pragmatic, neat and tidy, structured mineral, or whether it's a sensitive little plant, you know, or more likely a combination like we all are. Here's the trouble. It often feels like this. Do you know what it takes to spin plates? You don't hold them. It's not like juggling. Spinning plates is different. They're on poles, and you have to, in order for the plates not to fall, you have to run between them, making sure they're each oscillating. And the small business meshed with the healing part of what we do can often feel like this to me. I'm sure I'm not alone. So there are so many plates, and having a passion for healing, for homeopathy, isn't enough, and a calling isn't enough. We need a good training, a really good training. We need a vision, but that isn't enough on its own without a clear mission statement that backs up the vision, and goals to support the mission, clear stated aims and objectives for the business. Our skills aren't enough. We can have as much training as we want. We need experience. Hard work isn't enough without a plan. And diversifying and being creative, they aren't enough unless we focus those you know, those parts of who we are. We need support, we need to reach out, but those aren't enough unless we follow through on what we get from our support networks. And updating isn't enough without reflection. Rigor isn't enough without heart. So all these plates make up a part of what makes a small business. And homeopaths are mostly not entrepreneurs, but we're all small business owners, whether we like it or not, and whether you're a standalone homeopath working from home or you're in a group practice, it's still a business. You have bills to pay. Small businesses have a lot of common symptoms. And so, you know, you can learn about them and you can make your business work for you. You can also take its case and find out what characteristic symptoms your business has that's unique to you and the way you work. Every small business has to constantly reinvent itself, otherwise it can't survive. Astonishingly, 70% of businesses fail in the first 10 years. So I know there are homeopaths in the room. Some of you have been in practice for many years, 5, 10 years or longer. Yay, you're already bucking the trend. You've already succeeded. That's really a big deal. Congratulations. Celebrate. This is, you know, we have to celebrate the good remedies we give, the happy patients, the the fact that we can pay the bills. These are all really good things. As and when we struggle, taking stock, figuring it out is a very fine thing to do. And I'm, after 35 years in practice, I'm still doing that every year. Every year I take stock. Every year I do an audit. I conduct an audit of my practice. I do an audit for the IRS, and I do one or two for myself. So the rules, and there are lots of them for business, small business owners, there are many of them, and thankfully we don't have to follow them all, and we can get help with our business, with actually setting it up. There are sort of structures, just like a house. There's the foundation, and then the walls, all the roof, all the pieces of your business you can get help with. Some things work better some years than others for me. And I have moved a lot. For those of you that know me, I guess, got some serious tubercular thing going on, really. So in England, I probably moved 8 times. From when I first had a practice, I moved within London, but different areas in London. So had to set up new practices each time. And then I moved out of London, and then I moved to the States, and I've lived in, I don't know, 6 or 7 states here. I mean, I've been in Florida now for 20 years. So but I've had 3 or 4 practices here. And I've worked from home, I've worked out of the offices of other practitioners, or just general business offices. I have done it all. And at different times, I needed a different structure to help me succeed, because that's all that counts. Is how can you do your job to the best of your ability? How can you get patients, keep them, and do your finest work? So what works one year for me might not work another year. Right now we're all going online, or most people are, hardly anyone seeing anyone in an office. So that's a new, it's a new gestalt for us all. And with each big change, I have gotten help. Coaches are out there, supervisors, mentors, business consultants. There are lots of them out there that you can hire on just for an hour or two. Get some advice and follow it. Don't keep going back. Go back when you've done what was recommended and it's worked. Then that person can help you. Okay, I participated in a booklet written for the UK Society of Homeopaths in 2008. And James Butler is a business consultant who specializes in helping alternative healthcare practitioners succeed, run thriving practices. Sarah Whitaker is a homeopath, and she has a background in business. And it's a brilliant booklet, and I'm making it available to you all. I'm not going to say anything that's in the booklet. You can read it. I've made a PDF available, and there's a link at the end of this for it. So all business consultants will start by asking you about your brand. This might be one of your most important resources as a business person. Your name. It might be your own name. My name is my brand, Miranda Castro, and this here was my very first logo. It's still my logo. I've never changed it. It's perfect. I gave my designer a brief. It cost me a lot of money back in 1982 or 83. I probably paid $300 back then, which was a ton of money back then, but it's always been good. So the brief was, I gave her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. So I wanted it to be contemporary, super clean, classic, professional, and fun, because that is one of my, that's part of who I am. I can suppress it, but it's not a good thing if I don't have, you know, laugh a little bit. Obviously, with some patients who are depressed or very serious, I'm not going to make jokes with them. But I might test out a joke on someone who's had a good remedy and couldn't laugh before to see if they can laugh now. And that part of me is very easy. It's very easy for me to do that. So this logo, though, it's a very unusual font here. It's now, you can't get it anymore, but it's just clean. It's looking a tiny bit dated, and I might revisit it with an updated font in a few years, or I might retire and I might just have done with it because I'm getting old now. So get a logo, a name, your own name, or a name for your business that is good, that reflects who you are, and get a designer to design something, a logo that will match you and the name of your business. You want it to stand the test of time. And then everything you put out, all the materials you put out, your emails, your leaflets, everything, all your printed materials, they should all look professional. That will give you a little edge over some of the more homespun, I don't know, massage practitioners or whatever. And of course, well, if you want to project a professional image, of course, because some people are not working in that kind of environment and want to something more informal. What now are your unique selling points? This is something that hardly anyone discusses, even especially in homeopathy. As a business person, why will someone come to you as opposed to Joe Blow down the road, who's also doing homeopathy and doing really well, giving really good remedies? Why will people come to see you instead of him or Josephine Blow up the road, you know, whoever? Maybe you are the only homeopath in town, but now that everybody's gone online, it doesn't matter. So it's more important than ever that you identify yourself to people. I think, hold on, I didn't, okay, so my USPs, I'll tell you what mine are, some of them. I answer every call. I answer every email. I always use people's names in the emails. People have stopped doing that. They've stopped saying, hi, Miranda. They just write the email. They don't even sign off anymore. I write a proper letter every email. I don't charge people if they're not getting better. I suspend the fees. If people do not respond to their first remedy, there is no charge for reevaluating. I think that's pretty unique across hardly anyone does that. And I state that up front. I'm expecting a response. If there's a response, this is how we work. If there's no response, I will reevaluate at no charge. I'm dogged. People like that. I'm really dogged. I will, if I I have a gift. We've all got gifts. Each one of you has a gift. I know 100%. I'm not psychic, but I know 100% when I don't know something yet. This is a crazy thing. If something doesn't make sense, I know that there's a missing piece to the jigsaw, this person's jigsaw. I will keep going until I find that out. And people, they mostly appreciate it. I can get a bit Rottweilerish. I do warn people if I'm going to do that, and sort of, you know, just chase down different avenues. I don't let people talk. I just keep asking until I get what I need in order to help them. Don't always get it, but nearly always. And I let people know my own process. I say, gosh, things aren't adding up yet, or I don't have quite enough information. And, you know, I'm just going to keep going until I do. Is that okay with you? So these are, I also have one of my unique selling points as a new practitioner. When I worked in London, I did house calls. Hardly anyone did. No one did house calls. Especially with sick children, I learned such a lot. I always visited women who'd just given birth. You know, always did a free visit after the birth. That was one of my gift, if you like. I visited elderly people who couldn't get out, who were very sick, and just, you know, so that was unique for me. I worked evenings and weekends. Don't get up early in the morning, but I am available in the evenings, you know, so that's been unique for me, and people who are like night owls like myself appreciate it. They know they're not going to get a response to their voicemails or emails at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. You may be an early bird, and if you are, that would be your selling point. Okay. I also have a lot of other skills. You know, I'm a breastfeeding counselor and this, that, and the other. And over the years, those additional skills or specialties of mine have been, I have used them as selling points for giving talks, for attracting patients. So this is a little bit random. It doesn't follow on completely, but this is about running the business and just the household chores. You know, if you don't dust the corners and put a new coat of paint on your business once a year, then it will lose its shine. And I do know most homeopaths would rather do anything than attend to the daily administrative, marketing, and promotional tasks, but you have to. So Heidi asked me about how I apportion my time, and that is a great question. And I found out through extreme trial and error that for every hour I spend with patients, I have to spend 1 hour with doing all the attendant work, all the running of the business work, paying of bills, the you know, sending out new patient letters, returning calls and emails. It's 1 for 1. If this is a full-time job for me, which it is, and if I don't want to work more than 40 hours a week, because I have other projects, I want to write, I want to do some teaching, so 40 hours a week is my max. and I do work 10 till 6. I will work through my lunch hour. I always have done, reading, researching, working up cases. I like, so that's my style. Some of you will need a proper lunch hour where you go out and take a proper break. I would rather not do that. I'd rather work, and then take a nice long walk. So the rhythm of your work is important too. And I go to my desk, 10 o'clock, and, you know, set up, that's it. I'm at work. Just like ordinary people. The thing is, if I get fed up or exhausted or aggravated and I want to take a break, I want to go to the post office or do an administrative task that is fun, I can, and I do. So one of the essential chores that well, let me walk that back for a second. I found at one point, I'd been in practice, I think 10 years, 8 years, something like that. And I said to myself, oh, I just spend so much time working up cases. A lot of people, fellow colleagues, friends, just give the remedies in the consulting room. I wonder if I can do that. If I can, well, I know I can do that, but whether that will affect my results. And I did try that, and I abandoned the experiment after a few months because I got the worst results of my life. My working life, I still work up, not every case, obviously, you know, but I still work up, you know, the cases that are not completely straightforward. So I always, at the end of the year, when I do my IRS tax returns, or in March, February, whenever that is, I have a look at my whole practice. You know, how much money did I earn? Could I pay the bills? Did I need to take out a loan? As a healer, what worked? So I started doing this by putting all those charts in piles, the ones I knew were better, the ones I knew were coming back but weren't doing very well, and the ones I hadn't heard from, and I got in contact with them. And it was so surprising. The people I hadn't heard from, a really high percentage of those were better, those people. I did ask them, why do you think, what contributed to your getting better? And some people did say, I think it was the homeopathy, and other people said, well, they didn't want to hurt me, my feelings. So they did. If I asked the question open enough, they admitted they'd gone to an acupuncturist or fallen in love. You know, there's no better medicine than that. So I have found it very profitable to ask patients how they're doing. That means that every time I survey my practice, I get this huge increase, you know, in appointments. So if I target that survey for the months which are generally low in appointments, which are January and August, I don't know how it is for you, then those months are not so hairy financially. And I get feedback that enables me to hold my head up in public, you know, like, yay, you know, I'm not doing so bad. Or, gosh, I've got to work a bit harder in this area or that area. You know, one year I didn't go to any seminars, and boy, did my practice really suffered. So this, I wrote Compass as, I didn't write Compass for homeopaths. the software program. I wrote it for me. And what happened? I wrote it to keep track of patients, to be able to communicate with them and to get rid of my secretaries, because I found them to be very hard to manage and they were losing charts. Once a year, every year or two, patient's chart would go missing. And sometimes I would find it tucked in, you know, but a couple of times they never showed up. So now I have a system where I don't have to do any filing. I don't have to manage a person to file. I don't lose charts ever. And I can, as long as I select with patients how well they're doing. And these categories I developed over many years and confirmed, fine-tuned them in all kinds of fascinating ways. Anyway, this, you can customize these categories any way you want, but this, which was, I guess, 8 years ago, is fairly typical. 16%, between 15 and 19% gets a simillimum. Simillimums, you know, work in an acute, there's all the parameters are in Compass for what determines this category. A similar remedy is where you give different remedies over time. People do really well. So this is between sort of 20 and 25%. Doing well means some remedies work, some don't. Doing well means the remedy worked, but not enough time has passed to know whether it's a similar remedy or a simillimum. Variable means sometimes they do well, some remedies work and some don't. No response means the remedies don't work, but they keep coming back. And, you know, so 75% of patients doing well or well enough is fine. That's really good. That's, I'm happy with that. And demographics, there's another, I could not believe this when I ran my demographics and saw that 65% were female and 35% were male, until I dug down and looked and found out that, you know, a significant percentage of this age group in boys had diagnoses of autism, pervasive developmental delay, ADHD, and so on. And the women, the highest percentage were in this age, you know, the 40 to 59. And the majority of these women were coming to me for help with menopausal symptoms. So knowing this helps enormously with marketing, with writing articles, with studying. I mean, this is like gold dust, but it's lost. If you've got a paper file, it's lost. You don't know, you don't know it, you're just guessing. So maybe we should have a quick look at Compass right now. I'm going to show you. There it is. I've just made it a bit bigger on the screen. And this is, it's busy and colorful. It's kind of like me. And it's busy and colorful on purpose. It's color coded. If you're in a blue tab, it means it's a case note. Orange is remedies. Yellow is letters. Invoices is, you know, everything to do with money, and you can always get back to your homepage. So it's like got a rhythm and a logic that's very, you know, easy, very Fisher Price, frankly. And when you put data in, it never goes away. it's always there. So these audits are, let's just go to the reports and go to the outcomes audit, which is the heart compass, which is where I showed you. And this is where you get to see all your patients and, you know, what percentage are doing well or not well. And I will, if I get a no-show in my practice, I will always pull up one of these people that aren't responding. Oh, look, Richard III, Elizabeth I. This is a fake database, obviously. But I will pull up one of these records, cases, and reevaluate them. Spend that time. If I'm working, I'm working. If I get a gift on time with a no-show, I will always invest that time into another patient or another aspect of my practice or business. So you can see there's lots of, I'll come back to this in a minute. Well, hold on. Heidi, are you still there?
I am still there.
Hi. So I've lost my floating bar. I can't see questions. I can't chat with people.
That's okay.
Are there any questions related or comments related to what I've said so far?
Sure. I think Shelley Garrison has a question. Shelley, do you just want to unmute yourself and ask it?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Great, thank you, Miranda. So it just popped in my mind because I have a, let's see, well, there's the, you know, storing, what if the computer gets lost, damaged, stolen, and the program is on the computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so about backup, you know, those kinds of questions.
So I talk about this ad nauseum. I mean, because I'm a passionate backer-upper of data.
Okay.
So I back up to an external hard drive. I back up online. I have a service I use, Backblaze, that's backing up continuously off-site. It's
So
backing online.
The cloud then?
Yeah. Yes, a cloud.
And so that's a paid-for service?
Oh, yeah. You have to. It's a business expense. You have to do that.
Okay.
We all do. Because if there's a fire or a theft, and one time I spilt my whole cup of coffee on my computer.
Uh-oh.
At 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, I was in my office seeing my first patient with a new computer with Compass.
Oh my.
I had I was at the computer store at 9 a.m. I got the new computer set up, boom-de boom, and I got Compass restored from my online backup.
Okay.
It took a half hour and I was at work by 10. You know, it was costly.
Yeah.
Buying a new computer, I don't recommend it, but bad things do happen. And so to have various different backups, when you quit Compass, when you close the program, it always asks you to back up and the files are backed up to your computer. Okay. So that's nice. If anything happens, it's a very stable program. It doesn't, you know, nothing bad happens to it. Very occasionally a new operating system will cause, you know, problems, but the backups, we can always restore everything from the backups. So that's good.
Okay, fantastic. So when you say, yeah, that was my other question. When we get new computers, it translates, and I'm sorry for my ignorance.
No, it's a standalone program. So The good thing about Compass is that it's in your computer. You take your computer, you do not have to be online. So most programs now, similar programs, are subscription based and online. You have to have Wi-Fi to use them.
Right.
That's really aggravating.
Yeah.
And so it's an app. Compass is an app, you know, by any other name, and it's in your applications folder. And if you get a new computer, Jim, who is the tech side, the partner in the company, he will just, you know, reinstall it and update it for you.
Okay. Great.
Generally, you know, doesn't cost that much. Can I show everyone something fun, just a completely different topic? So in Compass, there's a daily aphorism. Every time you open it, it opens to a different aphorism. It's random. And so this little snapshot is Julian Winston. For those of you who know, he's a homeopathic historian who's deceased now. He married a New Zealand homeopath. Anyway, these are his summaries. If you don't like the aphorism, you can change it. So that, just clicking that will give you a different aphorism. If you want to read the organon, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 editions side by side. 5 means the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, as well as O'Reilly's and Kent's commentaries side by side. This is like unique. And what I did last week was I thought I want to read everything Hahnemann wrote about epidemics. And so I just did, you know, Command F, just like in every other program. But I'm having everything slowing down here because of, there we go. And I got 12. I searched in the 4th edition to start with, and I got 12 results, and I read through them until I got to aphorism. What was particularly interesting to me, I must have searched in a, hold on, let me have a search. Oh, I know. I'm going to just cut to the chase in a minute. Julian Winston, so here are Hahnemann's aphorisms dedicated to epidemics. And what was fascinating to me, and something that I hadn't read before in preparing to speak to you all, I found this, and it was like gold dust, the footnote to 101, which is deleted in the 5th edition, talks about the immortal Haller, who in the course of 25 centuries, no physician that I know of, except for the immortal Haller, has ever thought of a method so natural, so absolutely necessary, so perfectly true. And then here's a long Latin quote from Haller's Pharmacopoeia. I mean, I have never noticed this footnote. I studied the 6th edition, but he moved this footnote to 102. I mean, it's not here, he moved it to another aphorism. And he waxes lyrical about Haller. Who is Haller? So this is a scratch pad in this whole part of Compass where you can make your own notes. And Albrecht von Haller was a Swiss scientist and physician who proposed proving or testing medicines on healthy people. And I've put into the folder, into your folder, you know, that you can go get after this talk, a nice little biography of Hella. So, any other questions before I go back to Heidi?
Yeah, there are two. I think one is from one was about what do you suggest to do with the hundreds of clients that are not on Compass as you transition, or
Yes,
or do you
I had the same problem. You can't type them in. What you can do is you can put in their basic details, so that you have, though I had to work with paper charts and Compass side by side for a couple, you know, for several years basically. And, you know, just made a note in case notes that this was a follow-up. If the first appointment was a follow-up, then it was clear that the first appointments case notes were in the paper charts. I mean, you can pay someone to type everything in. I don't think so. I think that would be torture or expensive or both. So, you know, it depends how onerous paper charts have become for you. I just felt like, you know, homeopaths were contributing to demise of the planet with all the paper that we use. You know, we take such long cases. I had 5 filing cabinets of charts, 5 4-drawer, you know, just tons of them. I kept them all. So I feel better about the trees. I feel, and then I did a summary page for patients I've been seeing for a long time. I would add a summary page, so a new case note where I put the previous remedies and just make a simple list. Or that page, if you have a contact list that has the dates and the names and the effects of the remedies, that can be scanned in. If you've got a scanner, you can upload the PDF here, and then you can just see single pages in the labs, docs and forms part of it.
Hey, Bob, there's no heat on under that.
Miranda, that was my question. It's Amy. How are you? Hi.
Amy, hi.
Hi. My charts are already on the computer, not paper. I've done it for 10 years.
Yes.
So it would just be switching over from saving them in a document.
Well, a Word document.
Yeah, like pages.
Yeah. You'd have to copy them across.
I suppose you could do that, really.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
So you would call the type of appointment. See, all these fields here, everything in Compass, it's all customizable, edit menus. You know, you can add one that's, or just type it in, previous, call it previous appointments or whatever you call it, you know, something that a code that makes sense to you. It means that at the end of the day, all your audits, all the, you know, all the remedies. I mean, this for me, this was gold dust that I could see that remedies that didn't have an aggravation were rarely a simillimum, that the simillimum nearly always causes an aggravation, even, and if the remedy, if the potency is good, it's mild. You know, if the potency is not too high, the aggravation is mild. If the vital force is strong, the aggravation is limited. It doesn't last so long. So now I only found this out by tracking the results of my work, you know, in this kind of, you know, tedious really, but you just fill it out. He was so bad, this boy, with this cough, he didn't get an aggravation from the remedy. It was an acute, subacute. And he's, well, you can see he's 29 now. He had his first child 2 years ago. And this remedy, took me ages to get to, is, see, no response, no response, no response to all these remedies. This one curative, you know, overnight. It's the only remedy he's needed for everything, his whole life so far. Yeah. So in the help part of Compass, now we can go to the audits and see, you know, we can get just a really nice, clear, simple directions, but also that my summaries, the whole program is shot through with like hot tips from me about what works, what has worked for me as a homeopath, as a classical homeopath. So these categories for, you know, determining how I think the patient is doing, right? Because that's very different from how they think they're doing. These categories have been very, they're classified in a way that makes them easy, makes it very easy to choose, to select. Let's go back.
Miranda?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, great. I know we're coming up on the hour. I know we have at least one more question left, and I know you wanted.
Let me run through a couple of yours. So
okay.
If you want to get help with your practice, then Karen Allen at the Health Hub, Trinity Health Hub, teaches a course specifically to help practitioners succeed. It's very popular. She does one a year. You know, just sign up to the hub and get on her list. Is there an optimal percentage of time spent on admin? For me, it's 1 hour for every hour I spend with patients. That's my optimum. But you know, you may choose a different number. I will not do 20 patient hours a week. Then I'm up to 60, 70, 80 hours of work a week. That's not tenable. My health will suffer. And I've talked about this. I didn't create Compass for homeopaths. I created it for myself. And this is what happened. Homeopaths, Karen Allen, Richard Pitt, bunch of other homeopaths looked over my shoulder at conferences and seminars.
Did Miranda freeze?
Yes, she's frozen.
Okay,
I'm wasting mistakes that homeopaths make on billing and paperwork. The big thing is not billing at the time of service. You have to bill for each and every appointment with the patient in the room or on the phone. You know, you will never regret that. It's so easy to take down the wrong, you know, it's so easy to get the money there and then, and it's so time consuming not to. If you don't record a payment, that is bad. You have to create systems, and that in Compass, there is a lovely little log in here at the end of every day. You can click the daily log to see which patients you saw that day. And then you can just run through all the invoicing. Did you charge them Yes, yes, yes. Did you record it? Yes, yes, yes. No. And filing, not filing. That is a terrible thing. If you don't file charts and then the patient bounces back to you a week later, now you have to look through the pile for their chart, that's another time waster. Heidi asked me, how do I set my rates? Now, I'm asking you, is homeopathy a business, a full-time job? Are you the only breadwinner, or can you afford to practice part-time? Maybe because you have a day job or someone paying the bills, or is homeopathy a hobby, which is fine. But for some people, they just love it and they just see a few people here and there. I am giving you a simple hourly fee formula. This is so simple, you'll think it's silly maybe, but it isn't. What are your total costs? You need to know what those are. Everything. We're talking all the bills for your personal and your professional life, all added together, the taxes, the insurances, this subscriptions, CPTs, everything. Say it's 50 grand. And say that I just want to work 20 hours a week, that's 1 for 1, and I'm taking 4 weeks holiday a year. I'm paying myself 4 weeks. I'm taking 2 weeks sick leave, either for myself or if my children are sick. I'm taking 2 weeks for continuing professional development. So that's 8 weeks less 52. So I'm going to work 44. I can work more or less, but that's my simple formula. If I divide that, times it by 10 hours, if I'm starting out in a practice and I'm not seeing so many patients, then I have to charge more than if my practice is full at 20 hours. This should read 50, sorry. It would be $60 an hour. Now, I can charge more per hour, which affords me the luxury of being generous with people who can't afford to pay me. So this is just like a really 101, your hourly rate. Now, then you have to compare it to other homeopaths in your area. When I did my hourly rate for working in South Florida, it was $50 less than the practitioner working down the road who had just come out of school, had no experience whatsoever. I couldn't charge less than her or him. I forget now who it was, but I had to be comparable. You can't charge more, but you can't also charge a lot less. So I've talked here, and you can read this about the benefits of working in a group practice versus the problems. There are a lot of problems if you're in a group practice. Noise just always drives me crazy, and smells annoyingly. People with perfume and the plug-ins, this, that, and the other. So those are things to think of. And I've put in a couple of checklists in your PDF, just, to sort of have a quick think about your practice as a, fondly, as a part of you. And here are the resources, including all the documents. This is the document about Albrecht Haller, the slides, a compass flyer, and the top tips, that successful practice, because I'm giving just to the CHC a special offer for compass, $329. If you, for those of you that are sitting on the fence, just download the program and play with it for a month. So I sort of Heidi,
Yep.
I sort of got to the end.
Yes, you did. You're super efficient. There's so much information. I think if you're able to like unshare your screen and we'll
Yes.
send it to everyone. I just want to take a quick picture of everybody online because this is
Okay, hold on.
Thank you for joining us. I think this was amazing. I think there was one question left from I think it's David Malcolm, if you want to ask your question, but for everyone else who can stay. And if you know, I know it's already 7:08. So if folks need to go, we'll send a copy of this. There will be a recording of this. Thank you, Miranda, for you to access and reread again. Please register to recertify yourselves by the end of the month. And thank you everyone for joining us, and whoever can stay, but thank you, Miranda. You are amazing. You are a inspiration. Thank you for making it possible for so many more people to have their business practice. And
thanks, Heidi. Thanks for your great questions. Hey, David. Hi.
Hey, I'm underutilizing Compass. I'm at the point my practice is somewhere between 50 and 60 clients, and I'm not keeping up. And I'm still doing a lot of things outside of the program, and I'm using it mostly for records and stuff. I need to learn the rest of it, or get an assistant.
Have you had a session with me?
We did a quick one 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think I need to. I think I might need.
You need a refresher, and I'll sort of address your problems. I'm happy to do that. So everybody gets a free hour with me. I always suggest people split that into two. You know, like when you're starting out, do a half hour, and then another half hour later. You know, once like David has got a bit stuck, needs a bit of help getting unstuck, and I love doing that.
Cool. Yeah. All right, I'll shoot you an email.
Trish, look at you. Hi. And Erin. Oh, all these people. Hi. So nice to see you all.
Miss Miranda, there was one question you wanted me to ask, which I think is like, how do you talk about homeopathy?
Oh.
We're supposed to end on that. Like, how do you talk about homeopathy?
When someone asks you, what do you do? And you say you're a homeopath, and they say, oh, homeopathy, what is that? Or homeopathy, you know, they said, you know, and then people tend to launch into a little mini lecture about homeopathy. Now, that's a very terrible thing to do, because you do see, you notice, don't you? You see people's eyes glazing over. You do, don't you? You do. Or they're trying to be polite, you know, and they'll nod, and then the conversation will change at some point. So it's not an elevator pitch that I'm talking about. It's more, how do you promote yourself? Because people don't care what you do. They care what you can do for them. That's all they care about. So it's like, what is homeopathy? Who cares, some Hahnemann? They don't give a fig, you know, about this, that, or the other, you know, India, whatever, you know, it's primary care medicine, and they've never heard of it. Here's my line. Feel free to use it or not. Oh, yeah, it's just another form of like energy healing, like acupuncture, without the needles. That's what I say. People, and now they're intrigued. What do I mean? But no, you can't answer the follow-up question unless that person is a practitioner. You have to jump in and say, what do you know, do you have anything that needs fixing, basically? So Karen Allen, I'll tell you what she says. It's very good. She says, really, the bottom line is people want to know, are you competent? Do you know what you're doing? Can you be trusted? Right now, and are you safe and sincere and honest? All those things are very, and can you help them? So Karen says to people, and I love this, it's not, it doesn't fit with my gestalt, but it's good for her and it might be good for you. People come to me with all kinds of aches and pains their doctors haven't helped them with. I fix those. So you need to ask people what they want or need. Have they been to any kind of alternative practitioners? Are they struggling with their health? You know, I have learned myself not to ask that in a you know, any kind of social setting, because within minutes, sometimes 2 minutes, generally 5 to 10, within minutes, people are undressing. Taking their clothes off to show me rashes, lumps, bumps, all kinds of, I mean, it's happened so often. I mean, it doesn't, you know, it's only about them, but, or if it's not physical, if it's emotional, they're crying. And this is very bad at a dinner party, to make your, you know, or any kind of party, any kind of social, I once got fired from a job in a bar. I mean, nobody gets fired from bars. And this was in London in the 60s, for making the customers cry. So men would tell me their stories and then they'd cry. So in the end, I said, okay, uncle, you know, what do I need to do as a job that capitalizes on this gift? People spill out their hearts to me naturally. Anyway, I'm just kind of kidding about that, kind of. You have to, you're not taking their case, but it's like, you know, can you help people? That's your sincerest urge. And if you're starting out in practice, you can offer to help people. You say, I'm looking for customer. My son, as a 5-year-old, I was a single parent. He called my patients my customers. It was so charming. I know. I mean, they are. It was so funny and charming. I have continued calling my patients my customers when I teach, because they are. We are providing, we're in the service industry and we're selling ourselves. So, you know, say to be interested, to have a quality of care and attention and to listen, that will sell you more than anything. People will put up with you. They'll put up with you not getting the right remedy if they feel listened to. You know that. You know how that works. If they feel that you're coming from a really genuine good place. So that's, I think that's, yeah, that was it. I didn't have, thank you, Heidi.
I knew that would be a brilliant end. I think it's, I think it's the easiest things are the hardest things to do, right? And I love your point. And this is how me and many other people have found homeopathy and have been cured by homeopathy.
How did you find it?
How did we find? Oh, how did I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I had lifelong eczema, but I had a young child. I had like a baby who was 4 months.
How did you? Who was it? Who who said to you something that made you want to try it?
Well, it was actually the lady who does my bikini waxes was just like, oh, I actually go to a homeopath. She like, you know, has been able to fix stuff that no one else has been able to fix.
That's
right?
exactly what Karen Allen said.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think it's beautiful. It's like people come to us with their aches and pains and things that all other doctors and other alternative therapies have not helped them get better. And that's how I tell people, I was like, you know, this is for stuff that chronic, anything chronic, right? I mean, homeopathy fixes everything, but like chronic stuff. That's how I tell other people about homeopathy. I don't tell them about the pills and all this remedy and all this stuff. I'm just like, are you tired of like taking allopathic like meds which don't do anything, right? Yeah, and are making you sicker.
Beautiful.
So,
Beautiful.
well, are there any last questions for Miranda before we close up for tonight? Yes, you renders us speechless, Miranda. Oh, Amy, do you have a question? Or are you just adjusting your?
Oh, no, I don't, but thank you, Miranda.
Oh,
Thank you, Miranda.
see
You're
you.
amazing.